Since the dawn of the first day, even before mankind first struck stones together to create fire, we have contemplated life's most pressing questions. What is the meaning of life? If a tree falls in the woods with no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? Boxers or briefs? Did we invent math or did we discover it? Chunky or creamy peanut butter? How does Ben Affleck still get work? Who even eats Cadbury cream eggs? They're gross. Alas, those questions will have to wait for another day. We've gathered here today to answer the most pressing question in FPV.
Is the 03 air unit better than the Action 2? Can I get rid of this thing? All right, so here we are on the bench. Obviously no narrated flight because we need to look at the footage from these two cameras and we need to figure out which one we like better and which one's easier to work on. Before we start though, a discerning eye will be able to tell which one of these is the 03 air unit and which one is the Action 2. If you are one of those discerning eyes, don't. Let's objectively look at these two images and do the best we can. So we start on the same rip. Camera is labeled Camera A and Camera 1, and those labels will remain the same. And right away, there is more motion blur in Camera 1 than there is Camera A. Camera 1 also has stabilization turned on, Camera A does not. It's not the most scientific of tests, but it gave me the information I needed to make my decision. Let's look at them a little bit closer and see what's up. Camera A is a clearer image, just edge to edge, and I don't think that's entirely motion blur. It's also really high contrast, and I feel like there's some electronic sharpening happening as well, but I guess I can't be sure about that. Camera 1 is immediately softer, but my big complaint with Camera 1 in a lot of ways is its grayness. It just looks a little bit foggy, a little bit hazy, the colors are subdued, and every time I try to crank the saturation to make it better, it just starts to get real neon. All of these small cameras and small sensored cameras have trouble with contrast from light to dark. The sensors are just too small to take in a lot of light. In order to better view the difference between light and dark, let's take color out of the equation. We've got a freeze frame here, and then we have the same image from two cameras that we can look at in black and white. Let's get a little closer. Camera 1's image immediately has more motion blur, especially around the outsides. It's blurring, but the center of the screen is pretty sharp. The belt there on the lift is very, very clear and sharp, while the motion blur is around the outside. So let's see the same image from Camera A. Camera A is an edge-to-edge sharp image. It just looks good all the way across. There's less motion blur, but it feels digitally sharpened in some way. This is Camera 1 zoomed in to 200%, and you can see the belt is fairly clear, but Camera A is much sharper. There's more resolution, there's more information for me to work with. Yeah, and the fact that Camera 1 is stabilized but Camera A is not is really standing out in this video. It's like my favorite spot ever too. Okay, let's get to part 2 here. This is an excerpt from a video I did a while back. Really, really like the video. It's linked up above, but I had this problem. Every time I'd go in and out of a parking garage, the action camera, the DJI Action 2, which is what you're looking at right here, had a real hard time with images like this. There is no detail in the black in this image at all because I went from a light area to dark. So if I'm flying in there, I'm aiming for one of those windows or one of those exit points, and that's all I have to go with. So I really wanted to see, especially with the most recent update, if the 03 air unit is handling those light differences. So let's go back to a parking garage. Camera A is on top, Camera 1 is on the bottom in the same place. And again, Camera 1 stabilized, Camera A is not. Camera 1 has a lot of motion blur. For my eye, maybe even a bit too much here, but that's just for me. But inside, Camera A is doing a far better job with dynamic range. It's just so much easier to look at and so much easier to fly through. And then if we get to another image, let's pause here for a second and just look outside. Camera A is immediately making correction and seeing that the buildings outside are exposed better than what's happening on Camera 1. Camera 1, the building outside is already kind of overexposed. So the problem is, as we exit this parking garage, we need to make some quick decisions about what obstacles might be in our way. As we exit, let's see how they correct. Camera 1 doesn't seem to. There's so many more branches visible in the trees in camera A than there are in camera 1. Definitely know which one I want in my goggles. Now for an action camera, for final footage, I'm just liking what's happened on camera A. Seems to be doing a better job of handling these light differences. Look, I have a decision. I know which one of these I like better, and I know which one I picked. Check out this edit. It's filmed with my favorite of the two cameras. Let me know in the comments below if you can tell which is which, and then I'll let you know once it's done.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean with I am the one who will dance on the floor in a round? She said, I am the one who will dance on the floor in a round. She told me her name was Billie Jean as she caused the scene. Then every head turned with eyes that dream of being the one who will dance on the floor in a round. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. And mother always told me, be careful who you love. Be careful what you do, because the lie becomes so true, yeah. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But a kid is not my son. She says I am the one, but a kid is not my son. Billie Jean is not my lover. 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 Billie Jean is not my lover.
So am I getting rid of the Action 2? Hell yeah. If my FPV system is better than the action camera I'm trying to run, yeah, I'm going to get rid of it. However, that is the catalyst for me to, so that'll be on the next video. Check out the rip. Also, did you hit like down below? Did you click that subscribe button? Love having you. Stick around.